Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here on Elite Dangerous. We are... Why are my hard points deployed? Why is my landing gear deployed? Wow, I don't know what was going on that I had all that stuff turned off. Anyways, we are continuing to do exobiology-related activities and exploration in general. Okay, seriously? Can we... Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with the controllers here. We're continuing to do exobiology-related activities nearby our carrier. We're currently here in the Diamondback Explorer, but we do have access to a bunch of our ships that we decided to bring along for the journey. We swap them out as we go just to kind of keep things fresh. Last couple of episodes, we found an ammonia world, but we didn't really find too much else outside of that. So I'm really hoping that this episode, I'm kind of doing my weekend episodes for the today and tomorrow and all of that, or yesterday and today. I don't know. My brain's a little scattered right now, but yeah, we have 2 episodes, and I'm gonna try to get done today for the rest of my weekend. So we're gonna hopefully find something interesting in this episode, or hopefully the next one. Only 3 bodies in this area. I feel like we cashed in all of our luck when it came to all of the exobiology stuff at the first part of the week, and now there's like nothing. There's nothing left. We're not getting very lucky with all of that, but we're gonna keep trying. Hopefully, it ends up working out for us. We'll see if we'll see. I don't know. Before we get too far into the video, I'd like to ask you to help us to reach the next major channel milestone of 10,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. The number does not go up unless you actually press the button, so do that now. Hit the like button to help the video spread out to more people so they can subscribe as well. And then when you're done watching this video, we have more than 1,600 videos on the channel. That's right, 1,600 videos on the channel available for you to watch. They are organized in a nice, neat little playlist to make it easy to find whatever it is that you're looking for. And I play a bunch of different kinds of games, so there's bound to be something there for you. So, don't really have too much. I did a video. I just finished doing a quick little news video. Apparently, Shinrarta Desra is under attack, so I'm kind of glad we're out in the black in our fleet carrier now, because that would be kind of annoying to have to deal with that when you're trying to get things done, and now you can't do what you need to do because your home base is like burning and under attack and stuff. So, if you are interested in all that Thargoid stuff, be sure to go head over there and try to help resolve that situation, because I'm sure there's a bunch of people who don't do combat who would really appreciate it if that situation kind of went away. I know that I would. I know that I would, and I know that if I was in that situation, I would. But fortunately, we've packed up all of our stuff and our gear and have put it in our fleet carrier, and we are, thousands of light years away from that whole situation anyway, so not really going to affect us at all. Like, not even a little bit. We're on our way to Colonia at the moment, so realistically, even if that situation does last for a long time, which I don't think it will, I don't really know how that works, but even if that ends up lasting for quite a long time, we'll be over at Jacques Station at some point, and we'll be able to buy all of our stuff there, because if I remember correctly, that is like the Colonia equivalent of Jameson Memorial. I don't know if they have the same discounts there that Jameson Memorial has, but I believe you can buy every ship that's available, every ship and module and all that stuff that's available in the game over at Jacques Station. So yeah, that's where we're going. It would be really nice if we could find. I mean, I'm not going to say it would be really. It would be really nice if we could find some some more interesting things. I was going to say it would be really nice if we could find some Stratum Tectonicus, but to be perfectly honest with you, we already found 2 this week already, so I'm not overly concerned about grabbing those because, we got 2 first footfall Stratum Tectonicus on like the first 2 episodes that we did this week, and that's like, that's almost 2 months worth of payments for the carrier right there. So I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm not that concerned about it. I actually think we still need to head back to the carrier to cash in the second one, because we went back after the first day. It's not doing that one. We went back after the first day because I was being a little bit paranoid, and I was like, well, we got really lucky with this one. Let's just do it, because it was the first jump that we did. So I got a little paranoid and ran back to the carrier. Decided, we're only a jump away. Why don't we just head right back and cash that in? Ended up making 121 million credits off of that and some other things that we scanned there. And then the very next episode, we found another Stratum Tectonicus with first footfall, and I don't think we went back to the carrier after that. So I think we're actually running around with quite a bit of funds in our ship right now. So I need to kind of keep that in the back of my head and be a little careful, because it'll be a crying shame if we end up dying and with that data still in our ship. That would suck. That would suck hard. But yeah, we have this episode and one more By the time the second video publishes, we'll be ready for our weekly carrier reposition live stream. So if you're interested in coming to hang out with us as we do 3 jumps, we do 3 jumps every week. It takes about an hour to get that done, and we just kind of hang out and chat and, you know, talk about Elite Dangerous and anything else that pops into our mindless little heads. I try to make it as fun and interesting as I can, but you know, you can only talk for so long and maintain any kind of interest. So I am kind of trying to bring up and encourage as many people as I can to help me figure out this galactic racing league that I would like to get started, where, you know, hopefully we can get a bunch of people to come and hang out come and bring their ships out to the carrier, and then we find really cool places to do racing and maybe some SRV racing and things like that. You know, it'd be kind of interesting to do, quote, sort of exotic racing in deep space locations. So, you know, I think that would be kind of cool if we could put that together, and I also think that it would turn our weekly live stream into something a little bit more interesting than just watching some dude talking on the internet about random stuff. Alright, I think that covers all of the standard things that I typically try to talk about on these episodes, so... These, as I said, are my weekend episodes, so they are going to be a bit shorter than what I would normally do. I normally shoot for between 20 and 30 minutes, but for these weekend episodes, I generally try to stop right around the 20-minute mark. So, even though I would normally try to land on a body, but the last couple of episodes, when I get into these kinds of episodes, I just, once we get around the 20-minute mark, if we're not right in the middle of something, I go ahead and just end the episode. So, if this episode seems a little truncated and rushed or whatever like that, well, it kind of is, because, you know, I got to get extra episodes in to get my weekend done. So that's what that's about. Don't really have too much else to cover, I don't think. It's still kind of early in the morning for me. It's 8:30, and I've only been up for like an hour or so. My brain is still kind of trying to turn on, but as with most things in life, you kind of have to get things done when you can get them done. And because things in my personal life are happening in a way that force me to have to do my work early in the morning, my brain is still trying to wake up. Okay, so one of the things I can talk about is that I recently finally brought my VR headset back out, and I am working on those DCS F-18 flight training camp. I am working on my DCS World F-18 flight training campaign that I was working on. I'm working on it again. I'm flying through the missions to A, try to relearn the F-18 again, because it's one of those things that if you don't do it for a while, you forget. And then B, to start doing that quality control that I kept saying that I need to do on that. So hopefully, you know, at some point in the relatively near future, I'll finally finish that stupid thing and be able to post it up somewhere for sale. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed that it's going to be something that I'm going to post for sale, but to be perfectly honest with you, you know, I put a lot of time into creating those missions and trying to, not just actually creating the missions themselves, but just, you know, the planning that goes into trying to come up with a, you know, logical progression for the different things that you need to learn about the aircraft and putting them in an order that makes sense, and, you know, providing you with something that is more than just the basic missions that came with the aircraft. Because one of the things I found, oh, okay, well, we didn't find anything there either. One of the things I found with the issue that I have with the training missions that come with the aircraft is that, yes, they teach you how to do specific things, but most of the time they just kind of drop you in the middle of a situation, show you how to do whatever it is they want to teach you how to do, and then the mission's over and that's it. There's no processes, there's no, you know, there's no context for any of it outside of, hey, this is how you drop a bomb. Hey, this is how you target this is how you shoot a missile. This is how you know, like, that's important information, and they needed to include, they needed to have that information in the training missions that they have. But myself, I learn better if I'm able to put things into their proper context. And one of the things that one of the things that I struggle with, and one of the things I would imagine a lot of people struggle with, is, you know, getting yourself into the place where you know when to do things, right? So, like, it's great to know how to drop a bomb, right? But when do you set that up, and how do you set that up? And like, the missions will have you set it up in the air on your when you're almost at the target, and that's just not really how it works. You normally just do that on the ground. Carrier landings and stuff like that, there wasn't really much in the way of carrier landing related stuff, and so there's just a bunch of things that I wanted to expand on the information that was provided in the default F-18 missions, and B, provide it in a way that is a little bit more interesting than just a dry lesson on how to do this. It's actually a campaign style thing. Like, it's like a flight school style thing where you start out with very basic things like navigation and data entry and, you know, a lot of different things like that, and you progress further and further into air-to-ground maneuvers, and then air-to-air maneuvers, and then you move on to carrier operations and things like that. It becomes progressively more difficult, and it's set up in a way that, you know, it's kind of story-based. Like, it's not, you can't really make flight school story-based, but it's as story-based as you could make it, you know, like... And the biggest thing I think that people are going to get out of it is that it progressively it forces you to practice the carrier, the Case 1 carrier recovery over and over again, even from the very beginning. So the airfield that you end up starting at, or the first airfield that you start doing training from, I've set it up in a way to where you have to do the Case 1 recovery every time you land, or you can't complete the mission. That's an Earth-like world. We need to go scan that. So you basically do a Case 1. You do it like I believe that the Navy does their training for new pilots. You do the Case 1 recovery around the airfield every time you do a mission. When you come back, you have to do a Case 1 recovery. So it forces you to practice that whole process and try to get it down. There's a set of triggers on the ground that will sense where you land. So at first there's a progression. There's zones. There's little zones you can put up, and I have the zones set up in a way to where you have to go to certain parts so that you can verify that you're doing the procedure properly. And then once you do all of that, so we're trying to go scan this. We're trying to go scan this Earth-like world. So let me get this like that. Boom. Get ourselves put in there like that. We need to be 11C. I think I overdid it. Yep, I overdid it. And now we're going to be punished for that. So I'll just stay here and let it. We're going to be punished. There's no getting around it. So you just got to let it. You just got to let it happen. It's one of my biggest gripes with this game. Okay. I think it'll do that. So anyways, there's these zones on the ground and that extend up into the air, and they're like checkpoints that you have to go through when you do your landing. So that you have to go and do the landing properly. You can't just cheese it. But regardless of that, there's landing zones on the ground that will sense if you've landed in the proper spot to grab the wires, the simulated wires on the carrier. So basically, every single mission that you do before you even go out to the carrier is going to be practicing the carrier landings. And we practice the Case 1 recovery. We practice the Case 3 recovery. You know, just trying to get you ready for the carrier operations and have that be something that's like second nature to you before you add the stress of actually having to land on something as small as the aircraft carrier. So I'm pretty sure that's how they do it in real life. So I wanted to make sure that the flight school was set up in that same kind of a way, where you can, you know, practice all of the elements of landing on the carrier long before you actually land on it. So that's just something I wanted to come up with a program that would be hopefully intuitive, hopefully a little bit more in the way of explaining how things work. Like, for example, you spend the entire first block of the training doing navigation-related things, and you have to enter in your own waypoints for things. Like, you have to actually do data entry into your F-18 to put the waypoints in, and then if you because if you don't learn how to do that, you won't be able to complete the mission because you won't be able to find the waypoints. I don't provide the waypoints for you in that first block of training. So you have to actually learn how to do the data entry, the different types of data entry, because there's different types of coordinate inputs and things like that. So yeah, you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to take that information from a mission briefing and put it into your flight computer, and then make waypoints out of those, and then you can do navigation and get where you're supposed to be going. You have to I teach you radio navigation for, you know, using the ADF to actually get to a radio source and things like that, TACAN and all that. Like, there's a whole, I try to go as far in depth into this stuff as I could without getting into, you know, a bunch of minutia that wasn't really useful, something that you wouldn't actually use on a regular basis. I mean, obviously, I don't know how often you're going to be using the ADF to do anything in the game, but I think it's a useful source of information to have, because there are situations where, you know, certain missions will give you they'll say, home in on our radio source here, and this is where we are, and you'll need to be able to do that. So I wanted to make sure that they were useful skills, even if they weren't going to be something that you would do a lot. And it's just good to know how to do radio navigation. That's something that every pilot should really know how to do. I know we live in this modern world with GPS and everything like that, but realistically, you need to know how to do radio navigation. Okay, so it doesn't look like we're finding much. And with 30, I mean, hold on, what are these? These are rocky bodies. There's a metal-rich body. I mean, there might be a high metal content planet here. Just have to try to see what we can find here. Okay. Not sure why that other rocky body had me go so far to the right. It's a bunch of geological stuff here. Okay, so we have to find ourselves the next gas giant, and then back over here. We're getting lots of opportunities. Well, let me say that. Let me rephrase that, because I just finished saying in the last episode that I made yesterday that the number of bodies does not increase. A larger number of bodies does not increase your chances of finding biological sources. That's just not how it works. The system is either going to have it or it's not, and the number of bodies doesn't change that. Is that a high metal content planet? I mean, there's nothing on it, so it doesn't really matter. It's just really irritating when it takes forever for the scanner to get around to letting me know what kind of planet is that. Right, I would imagine... Yeah. Unfortunate. I mean, the only reason I'm even scanning all of this is because they're all rocky bodies. And rocky bodies are going to have a much higher chance, if there's biology at all, it has a much higher chance of having a more diverse set of biology than a bunch of icy bodies. So, because everything in this system is more or less rocky or high metal content, I'm a little bit more willing to do the full-on scan. Alright, and then the last thing is a gas giant. And since we went through all of that, we're just going to go ahead and scan. We're just going to go ahead and scan the last couple of gas giants here. Because why not? We already went through and did all of the scan. We already went through and did almost 40 bodies. I don't, like I said, I've said in the past that I don't typically bother with that, but unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, but fortunately, we found a system that had a bunch of rocky bodies in it, and so yeah, it was worth. To me, it was worth scanning, because at least if there was biology, then you had a decent chance of it being like 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever biology. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people will have this desire to meticulously catalog everything, and then when you come along as somebody who doesn't really want to do that, they try to point out that, I found this thing that was this, and it's like, well, yeah, you did, but the odds of you finding that are astronomically low, so it doesn't really make sense to continue doing that unless you are just the kind of person who needs to get that 100% completion everywhere you go. I'm not like that, so you know, I don't have any strong desire to make sure I scan every single thing. I'm trying to find, like, scanning in and of itself, like, see, like, all these, like, there's icy bodies here. This is not a system that I would waste any time on, because the best I'm going to find here most of the time, now there's a chance, obviously there's a small chance that you're going to find an icy body that has 3, 4, 5 some odd biological signatures on it, but the reality is that most of them, the vast majority of these icy bodies that you find, if they have biology at all, are going to have almost all of the time one biological signature, and then occasionally you'll find one that has 2 biological signatures. And what are you going to find when you do that? You're going to find bacteria and fonticula, space mushrooms. That's almost always what you're going to find. At least in my experience, that's what I always find. And I'm just not really interested in going to find those again, because I've seen so many space mushrooms at this point. I'm done. I'm ready to. I'm finished with that. It's not worth the time to go do it. So for systems that have only icy bodies in it, I almost never scan those, because I mostly know what I'm going to find, and the amount of time it takes to scan a body, to scan a system, only to find out that it just has it either has nothing or it has all the same stuff you've always found, just isn't worth it to me. So you know, if it has rocky bodies, or especially high metal content bodies, I'm much more prone to stop and scan. But even then, it's like, you know, the number of bodies in the system doesn't really change the fact that there's either biology in it or there's not. Now again, I said I don't really know what the algorithm is that decides whether there's biology on a body or not, but I'm pretty sure that the conditions in the system have a very large weight on whether something's going to show up, and I'm pretty sure that because they do sort of the panspermia version of life in this game, I'm pretty sure that they determine whether there's life here first, and then after that they figure out how to distribute that life around the system. So I'm pretty convinced that there is no correlation between the number of bodies in a system and whether it actually contains life. So realistically, you know, it just really depends on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to get done. If you're trying to do a bunch of geological stuff, like, see this right here, this icy world that we're looking at, this is almost certainly going to have bacteria on it. Now, of course, there's a chance that it could have something else. There's a chance it could have something super rare on it. But realistically, you wouldn't waste your time on it. I mean, it would be really cool if we were able to find out what it has on it from here, not have to go all the way to the planet, and then I could see, oh, it has some kind of stratum on it, or it has some kind of whatever on it. Like, if I could see what kinds of biological signatures it had from far away, that would make me more likely to go and investigate. But if all I can see is that it has one kind of biological source, that's just not really worth my time to go mess with it. So yeah, so what's this? We got one metal-rich body. If I could find that, then we'll scan that. But realistically, I'm not. Huh. Okay, alright, I just want to get this metal-rich body. High metal content world, but there was nothing on it. It says there's another one. There's a few over here. So yeah, if any of these high metal content worlds happen to have... Oh, we're done. Alright, well, anyways, we're past the 20-minute mark, so we're going to go ahead and call that an episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Click the like button to help the algorithm spread the video around. Join the channel, or subscribe to the channel to help us reach that 10,000 subscriber mark. Join the channel as a member if you like early access to videos, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. Again, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Elite Dangerous Deep Space Carrier series, and be sure to come back for our next adventure. See you then.